Growing a kitchen herb garden is fun, it's easy, it can save you a ton of money. I'll show you how I plant an herb garden and the types of herbs I think you should have in it. Culinary herbs are great when they're grown near the kitchen. That way you're more likely to use them than if they were further away. A lot of my herbs are grown out in my garden, and so this year I decided to grow my herbs on the back porch in a raised bed box. A lot of these herbs that I've selected here are all culinary, and they all have the same requirements, so it makes it easier to put all of these together, and they'll make great companions. This box here has a liner in it, and it is permeable, so it lets the water go through. The nice thing about liners is there is a slit in here that allows for some swelling when the wood gets wet. And so this just holds the soil in its place, plus it will protect that wood just a little bit. Most herbs will tolerate just about any soil, but one thing that they have in common is they all like really good drainage. And so in this box, I'm just going to be putting in some good potting soil. So this box is about a 4x2 bed, and it's 1 foot deep, and so I'm going to need 8 cubic foot to fill this. Get somebody to help you pour your soil in, because the liners will kind of flop over a little bit, and you definitely want to keep these liners up. So if you can get somebody to pour the soil in, we want to put the soil in to about 2 inches from the top. I've got a lot of herbs here. I've got 22 of them. I want to make sure that they're going to fit comfortably and allow enough space for them to grow. I do want this to fill in nice and full, and I will be harvesting these all the time, so I will keep them a little bit smaller than if they were just left to grow all the time. But I'll place these according to their size and what their habits are. I've got a nice big sweet basil here, and this is the most common of the basils. And this is one that we make pestos with. It's great in Italian dishes for making caprese salad with our wonderful heirloom tomatoes. And it's kind of tall, and so it'll get taller as it grows. And so this one I'm going to have right in the middle. I've got a barbecue rosemary, and this is one of my favorite of all of the rosemaries because I love the oils that's in it, and I love to use its stems for skewers for putting vegetables on and grilling during the summertime. Now this is a perennial and it can get pretty big, but I'm going to continue to clip it and dry it and use it so that it doesn't take over this entire bed. But barbecue is one of my favorites. Now something to think about when you're buying herbs like this one here, this costs $3.50. Well, if I were to go buy a little package of fresh herbs in the store, that right there is generally $3.50. So you can see where you're going to save a lot of money by growing your own. And they grow really fast over the summertime. Because the rosemary gets tall, I'm going to put this guy right in the middle as well. I have an Italian basil. Now these have really big leaves, and of course they're really good in Italian dishes. Now because of these big leaves and where we live in southern Utah, the sun gets really intense during the summer and it can burn those leaves. So I'll actually put that on the back side, or I should say the east side of the basil and the rosemary, just to protect it a little bit from that hot afternoon sun. Another really good basil is Thai basil. This one has a slight anise flavor, and this one's really good in chili dips, and it's also good with vegetables, whether they're raw or cooked. And I'll put this right over here. I've got a lemon basil, and this one's really good for a replacement for the sweet basil. It has that little bit of lemon flavor, and this is really great in pestos as well. And I'll stick this guy right there. Spicy globe basil is another really fun basil. Really small leaves, but it has the same flavor as the sweet basil. But I really just like the way it kind of grows into a little globe, so I want to put this in my garden too. This little guy here is a red cardinal basil, and one of the things that I really like about this is it puts on a nice deep red bloom on top, so it really gives me some color for my herb bed. And so I'll just nestle him in wherever there's a space. And what's an herb garden without parsley? I like the curl leaf parsley, but I really like the flat leaf Italian parsley better. Both of these are great culinary uses and used all the time. Something you may not think about as putting into an herb garden is nasturtium. I really like these because they're going to offer some color. They're going to hang over the side. We can eat the leaves as well as the flowers, and you can put these in salads, and they add just a little bit of a peppery flavor. Even though they're not considered a true herb, I really like to put these in my herb garden. And sage has got to go in the garden because sage adds some really good flavors to all kinds of dishes, especially fall dishes. One thing that I really like to do with this is brown some butter with this and then just kind of fry these leaves and cook some pork chops with the sage. It really adds to some really great flavor and makes for an easy dish. And also we want some chives in here. We can have the chive flowers, we can have the chive leaves, and this is a really good replacement for onions if we don't have onions. And of course, it's great sprinkled over the top of some baked potatoes. And thymes, we have to have thymes in our herb garden as well. There's so many different varieties of thymes to choose from. This one here is an oregano thyme. So it's used just the same way as all of our other thymes. It's got a little bit bigger leaf, which makes it easier to pick, and it has just that hint of oregano flavor. All of my thymes are going to go around the outside edges so that they can hang over as well. I've got a lemon thyme, and of course you know what that means. It's got a little hint of lemon flavor. And then we've got the golden edge lemon thyme. This one just gives you a variegation, and it's really pretty when it hangs over the edge. And then of course our traditional English thyme. These are all great to grow in here and then just harvest all the time and dry so that you have these herbs for the winter time. But if you live in a cool area, these are perennial. But if you live in a warm area, then you'll be able to continue to harvest these all winter long. And what herb garden wouldn't be complete without some oregano? Now, oregano goes a long way, and it is a perennial. So if you live in that warmer area, you'll have it through the winter time, or it'll just go dormant during the winter time. But I've got golden oregano here. It is more pungent than regular oregano, but I really like it because it's really high in oils. And so a little bit goes a long way with this, but I really like the color of this. And so when I hang this over the edge, it'll offer that light yellowy color that's just really pretty in this herb bed. And I've also got the Greek oregano that I'm going to put in here. And I really like the Greek oregano for all types of cooking, of course, Greek foods, but it's really good in Mexican dishes as well. And then I have a Mexican oregano. Now this is a tender perennial, so it could freeze, but this one, of course, is good in Mexican dishes. And it gets a little bit taller, so I'll put this towards the middle as well. If you're getting value out of this video, then give us a thumbs up. And if there's other videos that you'd like to see, then let us know in the comments. I have a couple of additions that I'm going to add to my herb bed, and one of them is stevia. And the reason why I want this in my culinary bed is because I like to put 1 or 2 leaves in our smoothies that we make in the morning. And so having it right out the door, then it makes it easy just to clip some leaves and go throw it in our smoothie. And another thing that I really love is lemon verbena. But the biggest reason I like this is because I like to take these leaves and just put them in some water when I head out to the garden. But also the smell when you brush up against this, going by this, really makes things smell great. This bed here is from Vivor, and I really like it because it's sturdy, it's well constructed. It was made of tongue and groove, so it made it really easy to put together with lettering on it, and it took less than 30 minutes to get this guy put together. I like all the finishing touches that it has. It's got some caps, and it's got a little hook on the side that you could actually hang your scissors, which would be really nice for harvesting your herbs. And it comes with all the hardware that you need. And the pine on it smells really good. If you want more information on this Vivor raised bed, then I'll put a link below, plus a discount code that'll help you save some money, and it helps our channel out. You might want to stain your box just to make it last a little bit longer. Just make sure whatever you're using is non-toxic and safe for plants. Once you've got all your plants laid out the way you like them, then it's time to get them into the soil. But when you pull them out, if you have any of them that have a lot of root system, then just kind of tease these roots apart so that they can easily get their root system within this soil. When planting the herbs, make sure that you leave the labels in them or make some other cool looking labels for your herbs. That way you know exactly which ones are your favorites. You want to press the soil down just a little bit, but don't firm it down too hard because we definitely want those roots to be kind of loose in this soil. After putting all of my herbs in, and they look really good, but I need just a little bit more soil, so I'm going to put in just a little bit around some of these low spots. But I want to make sure that I don't have too much soil, because if it's too high, then my water is not going to just flow down. It's going to flow over the edges, and we don't want that. These beds really aren't meant to be moving around, so make sure you place them where you want them. And if you did have to move them for some reason, don't water them for a couple of days so that they can dry out and be just a little bit lighter. But the more you move them when they've got this weight on them, the harder it is on them. Now that we got all of these planted, we want to get them watered in well, as with any new plant that gets planted. With new potting soil, you shouldn't have to fertilize for several weeks, but to maintain them through the growing months of the summer, you'll want to use an all-purpose liquid fertilizer to keep them healthy and growing strong. Plant yourself an herb garden, save some money, add some flavor to your food, and I'll see you in our next episode. That one should smell good. Oh yeah. Cute box. I was worried about it cracking when going into those, but it seems like it's not a problem at all. Okay, so the nice thing about the liner is it's not going to rot the wood.
Hey, have you seen my piece of wood? Oh, you have it.
Have what?
Can I have that back so that I can finish this project?